This is Sally. She's an artist with a dream and a brush in hand. After years of selling her paintings at local markets, she finally took the leap and launched her very first online store, sallyshop.test. Passionate about creativity and proud of her work, Sally poured hours into building a beautiful website to showcase and sell her original art. Every painting tells a story. Every pixel on her site was placed with love. Sally thinks her website is secure, but she's wrong. And this is where Kim comes in. He is an ethical hacker, the kind of hacker who breaks into systems so that people like Sally can learn how to defend them. Today, Kim is going to intercept login credentials from someone shopping on Sally's site. A customer named Joshua, and he's going to do it using nothing but a free tool and a network connection. Let's dive in. Kim's main tool today is Wireshark. Wireshark is one of the most powerful network analyzers in the world. It captures and displays everything happening on a network in real time. Every request, every response, every tiny piece of data flying back and forth between your computer and the internet. Think of Wireshark like a digital wiretap for internet traffic. If your data is traveling across a network Wireshark can see, Wireshark can capture it. And here's the scary part. If that data isn't encrypted, Wireshark can read it, word for word. To get started, Kim opens the search bar on his computer and types Wireshark. He clicks the icon, and Wireshark fires up. Once Wireshark opens, it lists all the network interfaces available on the machine. These are like virtual ears. Each one listens to a different part of your computer's network activity. For example, one interface might handle Wi-Fi, another might handle Ethernet, and others may be for VPN or virtual machines. To capture traffic from a specific connection, Kim needs to pick the correct interface. That's the one that's actually listening to the network Joshua is on. In this case, both Kim and Joshua are connected to the same local network via a wired Ethernet connection, Ethernet 0, so Kim selects that interface. He double-click it, and Wireshark begins capturing everything on that network, in real time. Here's the critical detail. Everything Joshua sends across this network, every click, every form, and yes, even his login credentials, can appear on Kim's screen in plain text. Let's take a second to understand what Kim is looking at. In the Wireshark interface, every single packet captured shows up as a row, and each column tells you key information about that packet. You'll see the time it was captured, the source IP, that's who sent it, and the destination IP, which is who it's going to. You'll also see the protocol being used, which is basically the language the packet is speaking, like HTTP, TCP, or DNS. And finally, there's an info column that gives you a short description of what the packet actually contains. Right now, it's all a mess. Hundreds of packets are scrolling by every second, STP, DTP, LLC, and dozens of other protocols all mixed together. For a beginner, it looks like chaos. But Kim knows exactly what he's looking for. He is only interested in HTTP traffic because it is the unencrypted protocol websites use when they don't have proper security in place. So he heads to the filter bar at the top and types HTTP and hits enter. Now the view is clean. Wireshark will only show HTTP traffic. At this moment, nothing appears yet because Joshua hasn't done anything. But when he opens his browser and visits Sally's website, the traffic suddenly starts rolling in. We can see a list of HTTP requests going back and forth between two IP addresses. The source column shows who sent the packet, and the destination column shows who received it. You'll notice two main IP addresses here. 192.168.1.30, that's Joshua's machine, the victim. And 192.168.1.22, that's Sally's server, where the website is hosted. So when you see a traffic where source is .30 and destination is .22, that means Joshua is sending a request to the server. And when you see source is .22 and destination is .30, that means the server is responding back to Joshua. This back and forth is how all web communication works. Your browser doesn't just magically download a web page. It requests something, an image, a style sheet, a form, and the server answers. And the conversation continues, piece by piece, until the page is fully loaded. So what we're actually watching here is the full conversation between Joshua and Sally's server, being spied on by Kim in real time. You'll also notice HTTP methods like GET, POST, and others in the info column. Login credentials are almost always sent in a POST request. Here's the quick difference between both. A GET request is what your browser sends when it's asking for something from the server, like loading a page, fetching an image, or opening the login form itself. GET requests don't usually carry sensitive data because anything you send with a GET request gets tacked onto the end of the URL, right there in the address bar for everyone to see. A POST request, on the other hand, is what your browser sends when it's submitting something to the server, like filling out a form and clicking a button. The data gets tucked into the body of the request instead of the URL, which is why login credentials are almost always sent in a POST request. So when Joshua logs in, the packet Kim is watching for is a POST request. Now Joshua navigates to the login page. He enters his credentials, Joshua at sallyshop.test as the username and let me in as the password. Then he clicks login. As soon as Joshua submitted the form, something interesting appears. Kim spots a new POST request coming from Joshua's machine. This is exactly what he was waiting for, because POST requests often contain login data. Kim right-clicks the POST packet and selects follow, then TCP stream. This tells Wireshark, show me the full conversation between these two devices, from start to finish, over this connection. It filters out the noise and gives Kim a clean view of everything Joshua's browser sent to the server, and what the server sent back. A new window pops up. This is called the TCP Stream Viewer. It shows the raw HTTP request exactly as it was sent. Headers, body, everything. Kim scrolls down. And here it is. Joshua's email and password, in plain text. Completely exposed, no encryption, no protection. Just raw data floating through the air, readable by anyone who happens to be listening on the same network. So if you run a website like Sally's, please make sure you have an SSL certificate installed and HTTPS enforced across every single page of your site. Not just the login page, not just the checkout, every page. Because the moment one page loads over an unencrypted connection, attackers can exploit that gap to hijack sessions, steal cookies, or inject malicious content. The good news? Setting this up has never been easier. Tools like Let's Encrypt give you SSL certificates completely free, and most modern hosting providers like Cloudflare, Netlify, Vercel, and many others will turn it on for you with a single click. There's no excuse anymore. No, it's too expensive, or it's too technical. If you found this video helpful, smash that like button, subscribe for more ethical hacking tutorials, and drop a comment below telling what you'd like to learn next. Stay curious, stay ethical, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.